afternoon, all of you, the respected faculty members who have joined over the session, as well as the students who are present on the platform. My dear students, today it's our webinar because in the upcoming days we will be having the session whole solely which will be dedicated on the clinical data management, and we will be talking a lot of things which are very important for the this current clinical research fields, and as per the career perspectives or as per the research and development, how all these things can be integrated and implemented. That all we will be talking about. But specifically for today's session, we will be briefing out about the clinical data management, CDISC, CDASH, and a brief overview I want to give you so that for the upcoming sessions you are prepared, you mentally understand that, okay, we are going to talk about all these scenarios. So before proceeding ahead, I want to know that what are your backgrounds, like which field you belong to, so that today and as well as for the upcoming sessions, I can connect with all of you. You can write up in the chat box like you are pursuing which course, like B.Sc, forensics or molecular or clinical biochemistry or MLT, like whatsoever is your field. You can write in the chat box, and so that I can get to know about your backgrounds. M.Pharm, okay. Swapnendu Chaudhary, okay, you're pursuing M.Pharm, right? Other participants, do you all belong to same
Ma'am,
pharma
good
background?
afternoon.
Good
Actually,
afternoon.
the host has disabled group chats, so I'm not able to type.
Okay, I guess we are getting. Okay, you can just one or two students, you can unmute your mics and speak out. Preetham is from Pharma, great.
Ma'am, I am
B.Pharm.
pursuing M.Pharm.
M.Pharm, okay. So I guess majority of students who are present here, they're from the pharma background, right? Mohammed from M.Pharm, okay. Sharad from B.Pharm, great, great. Okay, okay. M.Sc Micro, Junaid, B.Pharm, great, great. Deepak is, okay. Sir is Associate Professor. Okay, great, sir. Welcome on the platform, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you, ma'am.
B.Pharm. Great, great. So I guess some are from micro, and majority is from the pharma background. And because, clinical research is integrated, we can say, right? Clinical research does not require the only specific field, right? It comprises of different subjects from the life sciences, which will be ultimately responsible for a product development or whatever trials we are undergoing. So great to know about all of you and your background. So I will be able to connect more in depth with you all as per your fields. So I am Dr. Ankita, and currently I am Deputy Director and Scientist as well as Quality Head for NAVL at DNA Labs, Chris. And yes, also the resource person for Learn to Upgrade, one of the leading platform which is providing the online as well as offline trainings and internships for the students. So thank you, Learn to Upgrade, for having me here. And without any further delay, let's continue with our session, that is introductory session on CDISC, CDASH, bring on the standards, right? And when we say that bring on the standards, that means when, in our, always try to connect to your field and whatever you are learning with the life, right? And whenever, it's in a very journal procedure or in our day-to-day life, whenever we talk about anything, we talk about the quality, we talk about standards, right? If you're eating something at a restaurant, you'll definitely you will choose something which is tasting good, which looks delightful, right? You will search the quality over there, that it is good in taste, it is fresh, it is nicely prepared. Or if you're going to purchase anything in the market, you also look for the standards, you look for the quality, right? It is good, it seems good. If you're purchasing a cloth, its fabric is very nice, right? That means it is going to be very comfortable when you are going to wear it, right? You see the quality, and that quality, that standard, from where does it come? So it's a journey. Quality is always a journey, it's not a destination. And when we talk about the quality, when we talk about the standards, then comes your data management. And when we make it relevance with the clinical fields, clinical aspects of the life sciences, health sciences, biomedical and medical sciences, it is the clinical data management. Because whatever outcome you are getting in the end of any research, whatever it is, may it be any formulation, any drug formulation, may it is any kit, right? It maybe it is some kind of products, food products, it is textiles or anything. The main thing that is mattering to us is the quality, the standard, and the outcome. And like what is behind all that is the data, how it has been procured, how it has been managed, that ultimately we are getting something which has some level. So this clinical data management requires lots of potential, lots of hard work, and it is the thing which is bringing on the standards. So that is why this title is justifying our clinical data management, that is bring on the standards, right? So first of all, one very important term before going for the clinical data management is the Clinical Data Interchange Standards Consortium, right? So it's like a consortium, it's like a group where, whatever good practices, just like the good laboratory practices, whatever practices we are doing for the good data management, right? It's a consortium of the scientists, of the people who are getting and in together for bringing out a good outcome for the whatever clinical trials or works we are doing, right? So that is the consortium. And for this particular term and how this is there, how we can be part of this, all these things we will be discussing in the upcoming sessions, right? So I just wanted to introduce you to this term also, right? Like consortiums are there, and groups are there, societies are there, so lots of things are there, right? Now, moving ahead with the data management, we all know that this life science industry, because your faculty members are there, Dr. Deepak sir is there, right? So it he also knows, you all know, because being a faculty, he will be, he is managing all the, students, all the data related to the students and everything, right? Of right from the research to the academia. And being in this life science industry, we all know that it is one of the most rigorously regulated sectors globally, right? And we are prioritizing the patient safety. Our ultimate goal is the patient safety. And when we are in the clinical trials or in the post marketing phases, our ultimate goal is that we have to take care of the patient. Whatever product we are giving out to the society, to the people, it should be safe, right? So whenever and whatever trials they're going on globally, they should comply with the country's specific regulations, right? Set of regulatory bodies. And why it is there? Okay, I can see some messages also. Dr. Saab, Dr. S. Satish, Associate Professor. Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me here. Most welcome, Dr. Venkateshwara Rao, sir. Great, sir. Great. I welcome all of you on this platform, and it's very nice to have all the knowledgeable people with me accompanying in this webinar. So I welcome you all on this platform, and my students also once again. Right, I'll be continuing. Thank you. So whatever things we are doing in the trials, it should comply with the country's specific regulation. And how I just let's not go that far, right? We have lots of days to talk about it. In a simple way, whatever you are doing, for example, even if you are cooking something, right? For example, you are preparing some curry, you know that you need, a specific amount of salt. If you will add more salt, the food will be very salty, maybe you will not like it. If you will not eat that much of salt, right, you will feel like, okay, this food is tasteless, because you are having a criteria that this much of salt, a pinch of salt, a spoonful of salt should be there so that this particular dish will be tasty, or this much amount of chili should be there, this much amount of spices should be there, so that it will taste good, right? Every dish whatever we are cooking, we have some criterias. You must have seen in the master chef and everything, right? That is a standard. Or whatever work you are doing, for example, if you're giving an exam, your evaluations are done. So evaluation is done based on some specific marks. For example, you should get at least 50 out of 100 to get promoted or pass to the next semester. In the same way, when every academia, or even in our households, some criterias are set, in the same way, when we are into the clinical trials, when we are in the phase where we are developing something, it can be any medicine, it can be any diagnostic kits for the diagnosis of any kind of disease or disorder, or maybe it is some kind of preservatives or foods or any formulation, there are some regulatory standards, right? And whatever we are doing, trials we are doing, they should be complied with those specific regulatory bodies regulations, the guidelines. Then only we can say that, okay, this particular product has been passed, it is showing the compliance, it is not showing any non-conformity, right? Because we have tested, we have analyzed all our maybe may it be the clinical, or the biochemistry phase, or the whatever. For example, in the pharma, whenever you are formulating any drug, you go for lots of studies, you go for the pharmacodynamic studies, you go for the pharmacokinetic studies, right? And you check on the outcomes, or the adverse reactions if the drug is causing on the any of the body part, may it be your heart, may it be your circulatory system, may it be your respiratory system, whatever things we are doing. So we check on that whatever product we are forming, is it okay for the for the further human trials, or further if we are going to launch it in the market, right? So there is some regulatory standards which we have to follow, which we have to get compliance with, so that we can we can be having the market worldwide. We can say that, okay, our product is actually verified, it is passed through all the quality standards, right? So whenever we are in the life science in science industry, we have to take care of it, right? And when we are relying on the clinical research to introduce any product in the market, any new product in the market, adhering to the regulations like your good laboratory practices, GLP, or your good clinical practices, GCPs, or maybe CFR. We will talk about CFR also, right? Part 11, which is mandatory. So the clinical data, it encompasses the information for developing and maintaining the software systems, databases, processes, protocols, and it is very important for these studies, right? That means in clinical data management, which in abbreviation form you call it as CDM, it is ensuring the data integrity throughout the research. It is making sure the data sets are accurate, secure, reliable, and ready for the analysis, right? And I will just give you a very one of the very example which is very near and dear to me, and it is actually a case. So why I'm giving you that example, you will understand later, right? What happened recently, there was some research going on in our laboratory. So basically, that was about the invasive and non-invasive samples, where we were trying to study like how we can utilize different non-invasive samples for the diagnosis of cancers and all. So that was basically one of our project. So what happened there was one research assistant of ours, right? And why this data management and why this, proper procurement and proper chain of custody and everything is important in the clinical trials and researches. It will showcase, this example will showcase. And so what happened, different criterias were there which we were fulfilling for this analysis, right? So what happened over there was, uh, we had categorized some females and males urine samples for different kinds of studies. So there was a sample, urine sample, which our research assistant basically he did not labeled it, right? There was no data and no checklist, nothing was there. Thus, urine sample, it came from the hospital and it was kept just there in the rack where the testings were ongoing, right? So what happened? The next day, the sample it came to the laboratory, and it was just kept there. The next day, when the processing was ongoing, we are checking for different parameters. So we one of the technician, when he went for the this test for the pregnancy, because generally it was the females, the whole this sector or the differentiation was for the female samples. So generally it has to be there, right? So some samples were of female, some samples were of male patients, right? So and we were just checking out, right? So it was supposed to be this male sample, right? So it was a segregation and random testings were going on for the hormonal testings and all of a sudden when the testings were going on, we just saw that one of the sample was coming positive for the pregnancy, right? Some hormonal tests and all were there, and we found that the patient is positive for the pregnancy test, right? And actually it was a male sample. So it was a like huge chaos in the laboratory. Like, how come a male is coming positive? And then we went for the rapid test also, and it was positive. And it was like, for a instance, it was lots of chaos was there. How come a male can come positive? And is it possible or not? It's a very different thing. Everybody was surprised, and the management came, and everything was there. Then we saw the sample, it was not labeled, nothing was written, like it was like a miscellaneous sample. So we were very surprised. Then what happened, when then we tried to investigate, right? We tried to investigate, we tried to ask that somebody changed the sample or did something happen. Then our housekeeping staff, female, she came, and she confronted that actually what happened. I was cleaning, so by mistake the sample, it just fell off, it spilled off. So because she know that the sample was already spilled off, so what would happen, right? We were not having any sample. So what she did, she filled her own urine in that container. She swabbed the basically the containers, and because of that the a male patient was coming positive, because ultimately we didn't know, we just kept the samples, we were checking for the certain hormone levels, and based on that we saw that the sample was positive. But actually what happened, because no labeling was done, she just felt like, okay, the sample has a spilled, so what I should do. So she just filled her own urine in that sample, and it came positive. So this was the scenario, right? Then we came to know that, okay, and then the outcome comes when you manage any kind of data, because in upcoming sessions you will study how important is the LIS system, how important is labeling and writing up the everything about any of the clinical patient scenario. If the labeling was there, if it was there properly and the records were there, this mistake would not happen, right? That means when we talk about that data management, it is not only operating the databases and softwares. The clinical data management starts right from the reception where your sample is there. It is being transported. Even if before going for the analysis in the laboratory, whatever phases are there, we have to follow that so that no kind of such activities or analytical errors will be there while we are performing the trials, while we are performing the analysis, right? And because of these such mistakes, lots of cases are there where there are false positive results, false negative results are there, many trials fail, and we never try to understand that what was the loophole, right? So my ultimate goal is to make you understand that when we are learning something new like clinical data management, you have to learn from very basics. What is the base? And then step by step we will be going for the upcoming topics, right? So that means it is very important that whatever data management, whatever data custody, whatever data integrity you are doing throughout the research, it should be highly accurate. The samples and the data, it should be secured, right? It should not be available to everyone, and it should be reliable, and it should be ready for the analysis. And that is why this clinical data management is there. There is a team, right, who are doing all the process systematically, right? They are responsible for the collecting the data, for entering the data, for cleaning the data, for processing the whole information which is gathered during the clinical research project. And then they ensure that the accuracy is there, the completeness is there, the consistency of the clinical trial data is there, right? And all this comes when you are adhering the quality standards, when you are adhering to the regulatory standards and the guidelines, right? So one ultimate objective or goal of the CDM, the clinical data management, is to ensure that whatever trial did, whenever these trial databases are completed, you have the accurate and true representation of what took place in that trial, right? So that means the validity and the reliability of the data, it should be there, right? And because this pharma field, it's one of the very leading field. Why? Because we are not in pharma, we are not just we are not just adhering to a specific job, a 9 to 5 job in the pharma sectors. There is core research and development in the pharma. Every pharma industry, majority of pharma industry, they have this drug regulatory affair departments are there, pharmacovigilance departments are there, complete research and development sectors are there, where we can do a lot of things. But if you are only known to the clinical data management, it will add, we can say, it will add feathers to your accomplishments, right? So it is basically, adhering all the regulatory guidelines, right? And it's like a backbone for producing high quality statistically, which sounds results that it is informing the medical decisions and the regulatory approvals. So that is why when we talk about clinical data management, automatically we get connected to the regulatory compliance, because it is the fundamental aspect of clinical data management, right? And then we ensure that whatever data we have collected, it is adhering to the stringent regulatory standards as well as guidelines which are set for the authorities like your FDA or EMA. We will talk about FDA and EMA and what are the various guidelines, what is basically your CFR part 11s and all. Lots of regulatory guidelines are there, and to get the compliance, it is a huge task. But if you know about it, it becomes easy for you, at least, right? So this clinical data management is guaranteeing that the data adheres to the regulatory requirements, right? To not only facilitate the approval process for the new treatments or interventions, but to also uphold the integrity of the research. How many of you want to go into the research field? Have you ever thought of going to the research departments, or you want to just join any of the pharma industry? You can let me know in the chat boxes. Do you feel like going into the research field, research and development, R&D sectors? Any one of you? Do you have any such interest, my dear students? Okay, Sania, you want to go? Great. Any other participant?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, you are also interested. That's great. Sayani, Durgesh, great. Pooja, Pratiksha, very nice. Gaurav also wants to. That's nice. See, research and development is not a compulsion, right? It's a choice. If you want to do something new, if you want to, you have the interest, you are very interested for the laboratory works, you want to give lots of time to the laboratory, then it's very good, right? And it's like a journey upgrading. You are every day in that research and development, every day you are upgrading yourself. It's like upgrading your knowledge every day, right? Lots of things are there. It's a vast field, right? And it's because I said earlier, it is the integration of multiple fields, right? It's not only that only drug, only the formulation, but when you are in a research and development team, you will find someone who is from the micro background, someone who is also from the chemistry background, someone who is also from your maybe the molecular background, right? It's a teamwork. Someone who is from the core bioinformatical background also, where whole this molecular dockings and different types of medical codings and all are done, right? So it's an integration of different fields. Durgesh, okay, you're from biotech first year, that's great, right? And it's very nice that you're attending this clinical data management session, because uh, when we are in the these when we are pursuing all these degree courses, graduation or post graduation, maybe someone is attending biotech, someone is attending pharma, someone is from different field, but when you get into the research and development field, you will feel like we are all one, because every subject, it is field of everything is life science. The core is biology, the core is geology, the core is chemistry, the core is physics, right? Everything is the your all subjects are the core. So when you get into the R&D sectors, it's like you all are one. So that is why, and some concepts like your clinical data management, they are required for all sectors. If you want to be in the research and development sectors, this field is very important, right? You have to upgrade every day yourself, because in upcoming sessions you will get to know that when we talk about this FDA or your AMA or your different types of regulatory guidelines, it's not a one day process. There are books are there, the clauses are there, and you should be knowing the clauses. You should be every day, and time to time the clauses are revised by the global regulatory authorities. So it's a continuous learning process, right? And definitely, if you are into it, you have to go for the regulatory compliance, right? So that is why we have to understand, right? I have prepared lots of slides, but when I talk about the base, it is you have to understand, because
అదే
it's
కొట్టే పైన అడ్రస్ పడుతుంది కదా.
every session you have to understand that if you are into the clinical data management, we have
చూడు
to
నీ అడ్రస్ ఇది
ensure the
ఇదేనా.
data quality and integrity. We have to get the compliance with the regulatory standards. We should be knowing the management of the data collection and facilitating the accurate analysis and reporting, right? So there are different sectors in the clinical data management. There will be the data manager who will be collecting different kinds of data, trial data. Then, there will be the whole management team for the data management plans will be there, database design setups will be there, data capturing will be there, right? And then these data managers, they need the effective clinical skills. Be having the technical proficiency, they may be having, analytical skills, ethical and confidentiality awareness, right? Then database programmers are there, right? Then we have this medical coders are there, clinical research associates are there, investigators are there, clinical research coordinators are there, biostatisticians are there, medical writers are there. So different kinds of, the opportunities are there, which will be the part of the clinical data management. That means if you talk about the career aspects, the very last session I have kept about the career. So all these careers can be for you. You can be a clinical data manager, you can be a database programmer, you can be a medical coder, you can be an investigator, you can be a clinical research coordinator, right? But the one thing that will keep you all bound is the clinical data management, right? Okay, Durgesh has a question. Um, you want to know about the medical coding, although this part is I am going to deliver in elaborated form in the upcoming sessions, but for you information, basically, this medical coding is kind of, how you are it's like a process, or it's like a procedure where you are converting the, patient's diagnosis or the procedures or whatever medical services are there or equipments are there into a universal alphanumeric codes. Basically, they are specific codes are there, right? And these codes are basically used for like billing purpose, or maybe you are using these codes for the record keeping, maybe you are utilizing these codes for the data analysis in the healthcare systems, right? So basically, these medical coders who work for this medical coding and all, they're analyzing the whole set of medical records, they're assigning the appropriate codes for the classification systems and all, right? So they're converting the informations, they are converting the, written or dictated medical information from the patient records into the standardized codes, like, international classification of disease, ICD, right? So for this we have various code sets, like current procedure terminologies are there, these are CPTs which we call, right? So billings and in fields of billing and reimbursements, or your data analysis, record keepings, this medical coding is very important, right? And it's like a bridge between the clinical documentation and the business side of healthcare. It ensures that your services are appropriately, billed, and whatever data is there, because all the data in the clinical perspective is very valuable, right? So all the valuable data is captured and it is utilized for the various purpose, right? So this is the work of the medical coder. Okay, so right, so you can see different things are there in clinical data management, right? And when we say where do I start, right? So we start with a specific set of protocols. We have different objectives. When we talk about clinical data management in the R&D sectors, we have the protocols. We have the primary objectives, we have the secondary objectives, right? Then certain pre-planned analysis are there. Then we design the data collection instruments, right? And a proper case report form, CRF, which we call, is there, right? So that we can obtain the accurate and complete trial data. All these things we will be discussing in elaborated form, right? Because it's just the overview I'm giving. Then there is designing of the data collection instruments, like so that we can have a proper, statistical analysis, we can collect all the important information, we can calculate all the informations, right? So questionnaire forms are prepared, and the like whole set of, data collection sources are prepared, right, as per the guidelines, right? Like as per the clinical data acquisition standard harmonization, CDASH, all the guidelines are procured. Then the data is processed, right? Then the clinical data managements are processed based on different types of, databases are there, softwares are there, guidelines are there, like your web-based softwares are there, which has different types of features. Your Oracle softwares are there, right? And then we further ensure the accuracy of the data. The accuracy in pharma and in many of the quality management systems, you will hear a very important word, that is ALCOA. ALCOA principle is very important. A stands for accurate, L stands for legible, C stands for complete and contemporaneous, O stands for original, A stands for attributable to person who generated the data. If you remember this ALCOA principle, you can generate a good data, a quality data. And in the clinical data management, in the quality control departments, in pharma, in any of the industry, if you apply the ALCOA principle, that means the ultimate result, the ultimate consequence is the quality, right? So in the WHO handbook for good clinical research practices, GCP, there's a proper guidance for the implications, and this ALCOA principle is taken care of, right? So we have to be very accurate. Whatever trial databases we are utilizing, whatever source data we are capturing, right, it should be accurate, it should be legible, right? It should be having a clear handwriting. It should be readable, right? It should be reliable, right? And whatever informations they are there, we should be, very particular about it, right? Then complete. That, for example, I gave you the very early example of the sample, which was unlabeled. It was not labeled, it was just like miscellaneous. So the data should be complete and contemporaneous. There should be no blank data fields, right? Whenever we are operating anything, it should be original. Whatever lab results are there, questionnaires are there, they should be original. They should not be fabricated. Lots of fraudulence and fabrication is there actually in the research fields nowadays. And to get the original data, to get the actual data is very important, specifically in the clinical trials, right? Then the data should be attributable, like who recorded the information, who is the person behind that, who designed the study, who is the authorized person for that, right? So like that, certain guidelines are there for the good clinical data management, right? And we have to be very particular about it. So lots of things are there. We cannot complete all the things in a single webinar because it was just an introductory part, like to get that we are going to study all these different parts, right? But because I have told you today, so go get a quick revision before starting the main sessions, right? We have to be very particular, and our sessions are starting on the CDM from 5th of this August, and it will be the session 1.5 hour session will be there, like from 6 to, we can say, 8 p.m. it will be there, right? So whoever wants to enroll for the class and lecture, you can connect with the coordinator, right? And whomsoever it may concern, you can connect with the coordinator and you can attend the sessions, and so that you can get good learning. You can have a certificate also for that, and definitely if you want to go into the R&D fields, it is going to be very beneficial for you, definitely, right? And there's a question by one of the student, Rahil. Okay, just let me read the question. You have completed the M.Sc Micro and you worked in a school for a few years. You want to restart your career in microbiology or clinical digital fields. Okay, you can enter the field again. See, there are lots of industries are there. I know there's a problem whenever we are, whenever we drop, whenever we have a gap in any given job, there is always a question by the interviewers, right? They will be asking you, why did you drop, and why you are away from your particular field. Lots of questions can be there, but understand one thing, that not every interviewer or not every industry is safe, right? If you are attending these sessions, try to gain the knowledge again, try to explore this field. You can get some hands-on training from any of the laboratories, right? You can like some are fee based, some are stipend based. So based on that, you can go get some hands-on training in the microbiology field, because definitely it's a applied field, right? You need some sort of knowledge also in the practical aspects, right? So you can connect to some laboratories in your local area from wherever you are residing, so that you can get some hands-on experience, right? You can apply to see, micro department is everywhere. If you have a bit of hands-on good practice, you have a valid certification related to that, you can get a job in the pharma industry in the microbiology department, because microbial limit test is very important for the drugs, raw and finished products, right? You can get to the hospital. There is always a micro department. You can get in the food industries, the food companies. There is the micro industry as well, right? Micro departments are there for the food microbiology and all. So you can restart your career. The main thing is, if you want to get back to your field, you have to collect some of the good, hands-on practices. You have to inculcate that in you. You should, lots of online certification courses are there. Connect to some online courses and try to also get some hands on also, right? Because if you want to go for the applied industries where this all these things are going to be applied, you need hands on. You need that you are able to perform the practicals properly, right? So you can try that. And I believe you are the teacher, right? So teacher means you have lots of good knowledge also. So definitely, maybe you will be rejected by one or two industries, but not all. Because not all people are same, and they will understand the gap why it was there. And if you have the certificates, you have that, if you have that knowledge, you have that practice. So I definitely believe that you will get back in your field, right? So you can try, and you can let me know. Most welcome. Uh, so I guess I will be winding up this session for now as a brief webinar. And as I told you, like, whoever wants to enroll, you can enroll and you can connect with your coordinators, as well as uh, I will be very happy to have you on the platform for the upcoming sessions. So from my side, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
sir.
you, ma'am, for giving insights of for CDM, and hope all the students getting some valuable knowledge, and hope if anyone having any confusion related to the class or related to the batch, they can join or they can coordinate with our coordinators. So thank you once again, and we can wind up the session, ma'am.
Everyone, thank you all the faculties who have connected. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for your valuable session. I think
Thank you,
this
sir.
is clinical data
And
management. This is required for the or every sector, especially for the pharma industry or pharma people. So that's why I mean
yes, sir.
request you to give them some demonstration session, and
Yes,
I
sir.
think thankful to you to give the very good presentation as along with the applicable data for the data science. Nowadays, the data science management as well as the clinical data, especially for the pharma or microbiology, biotech, all departments, you clearly told that this is all get the good opportunity for this field. And this is the in upcoming, not only the in country and globalize also. So that's why I'm thank you and thankful to you to give
Most
the
welcome, sir. Most welcome.
okay. So I
Welcome.
convey the, my message to the students. Maybe some